So P.T.P X A.T.I stands for Perseverance, Travel, Passion, and Aspire to Inspire. And both of these are super impactful to me because I feel like if we were to break the two into two sections, perseverance, travel, passion, anything that you do in life takes work. And you have to be willing to go through trial and error to get yourself anywhere, which means you have to persevere through the good and the bad. I think sometimes when we think of perseverance, I used to think of it more so in a way when you were trying to overcome adversities, but you have to take in the good and the bad and just kind of keep moving forward in the entirety of everything. And perseverance is also something that I would consider to be a habit that's built up over time. So I think that it ties into traveling because when you travel, you have so many variables that you don't always realize are going to be there until you're in the actual act of traveling. So I think perseverance is a habit, and then when you tie it into traveling, it helps you be able to be adaptable, try new things. Like I'm kind of a picky eater, but I just moved back to America from living in London for a year, and there were so many different foods that I got to try. And when I was out there, some of the foods I liked and some of the foods I didn't like that much, and that when I didn't like something, it could have dissuaded me from continuing to try other things, but I kept trying it. So that's just like one example. I know when you persevere through different things, a lot more times it's when you have a goal in mind that you're trying to achieve, but that's just my cute little food example because I'm a big foodie. I love food. And traveling is a great way to experience a whole bunch of different taste buds that you didn't know you have. And part of why I'm bringing up traveling with food is because since I've been in London and I've been in Italy and Poland, it's so interesting to see how different countries outside of America actually sit down and eat with those within their family or their friends. And they actually, when I was living in Italy, we sat down for like a full 3-course meal. You had your little appetizer, you had your main course, you had the dessert, and you stayed there talking with everyone and just catching up about your day for probably a good like 2 hours. And in America, I'm usually like, okay, I'm gonna grab something and I'm gonna eat it in the car when I'm going from one place to another. So it's just seeing that concept of time when you travel and the way that different cultures conduct themselves. And then passion fuels everything. I feel like when I think of passion, it makes me think of something that just ignites this fire within inside you. And sometimes the reason why I think that perseverance, travel, passion is so impactful is because you might think you have the passion, but until you actually experience it and continue to experience it, even when the going gets tough, you never really get to see the potential that that passion can bring into your life, and you don't always get a chance to fulfill it to its fullest extent without having that perseverance factor. And I think that traveling is so important because it allows you to really hone in on your passion and see how it's done in different perspectives around the world. So that's my little snippet on like why I think perseverance, travel, passion is so important, especially in an individual's identity and how they come into different experiences. And I think aspire to inspire is so important because when you have a platform like this where you're able to see different people and how they choose to conduct themselves and live their life, or what type of stories they are able to take from going to Australia or countries that I don't even know the names of. Like, there's just so much in this world, and aspire to inspire I think makes so much sense to be combined with perseverance, travel, passion, because seeing the acts that people do through P.T.P inspires others to go have their own in the same means. So I think that's pretty cool. So I think the values and qualities of P.T.P X A.T.I are important to have in your life because they give you a foundation to build off of. And specifically in my life, I feel like these qualities have helped. I'm a person that comes from a philosophy, psychology background, so I'm very curious about our individual identity and how we operate as humans in terms of like the mind and how our environment and other factors come into play. So I feel like perseverance, travel, passion kind of it combines the way that we are as humans and the way that we think and we feel, and it gives us an environmental context as well. So now when I have a passion that I want to take up, I'm not only able to do it in one setting, but I'm able to travel to other locations and readapt whatever it is that I'm doing. So for example, not only do I do philosophy and psychology, but I also do fashion design and art. So I was doing art in America, in fashion in America, and I was designing a specific way that I felt like I had some freedom with it, but I kind of had this longing that I wanted to explore other things too. But living in Wisconsin, not everyone dresses the way that I dress, and it wasn't until I went and lived in London for a full year that I realized how important your environment actually is and being surrounded by like-minded individuals. And sometimes that also goes in terms of appearance, because when I was in England, I felt so much more freedom in the way I was able to express myself through my clothes, because I think I have a very kind of like edgy industrial style part of me that I like to share with myself in the world, and I also have a very sophisticated and classy side, and being in different parts of the world allows you to kind of express different aspects of yourself. And if I didn't stick with my passion of fashion and understanding culture and persevere by traveling to different locations around the world to see how other cultures operated, I wouldn't have been in a position where I am now, where I aspire to inspire other people, because I have that foundation and understanding of myself and how I operate, why I operate the way I do. And now I have the tool set to go out and be a living testimony to my truth, so I can inspire other people to have their own aspirations and use traveling as a means to testing them out and bringing them to fruition in their own ways. So I think that P.T.P X A.T.I can impact others because it sets you up for understanding a foundation to build off of. I think that as humans, we're able to achieve so many different things in this world, but what I've learned, especially for myself most recently, if you don't have focus, it's really hard to make the impact you want for yourself and for others around you, because I think that perseverance, travel, passion, and aspire keeps you being self-reflective. And it shows you different pillars to make sure you're examining yourself in. So like, I love traveling, and I knew from a young age I wanted traveling to be part of my core and what I would do with the rest of my life. But at a young age, I never thought I would have the opportunity to actually go out and travel. And eventually I just got to this point where I was like, no, I need to travel, and I persevered through finding ways to get out there. So I did study abroad programs through school, then I went and continued my education so I could actually be in the position to be in another country. When I went abroad for school in London, I never went on a plane by myself before. I never even used an Uber. I didn't know any of that stuff, and I just packed up my bags, moved to a new country where I didn't know anyone. But I had this mentality like, I'm gonna have a great time, I'm gonna meet people, I'm gonna make friends, and I'm gonna make it one of the best years of my life, and it's gonna help me set a foundation for what to build off of. And the only reason I even knew I wanted to go to London to do that was because I was in Italy for about 3 weeks, so roughly a month, and seeing the culture there and the different way of life, I was like, I need to understand more of this. So I think that traveling really is such a crucial part towards formulating your identity, and perseverance, travel, passion reminds you that travel is such an important factor in our life. And you can even go in your backyard. Like, I know once I started to become more cognizant and mindful of the importance of traveling, I realized like there's so many things in my backyard that I don't even know are there. And when I say backyard, I don't literally mean my individual backyard, but I just mean like the surrounding area in my town. A lot of times when we think travel, we think we have to go to a new country or a new state or something that has a different landscape, but you could literally go down a road you never drove down before around your house and go just pick a spot. Maybe you'll find a park you didn't know existed. Like, it's all in your mind frame, in my opinion. Yes, it's good to go out and travel and experience different cultures and fully submerge yourself in that. But I think that if you don't have the means to do that yet, creating the habit of doing that just in your own neighborhood gives you the opportunity to develop your passion of travel, and it shows you the ways that you can develop other passions you may have, and it inspires yourself to even go out and do more. And I think the best way to inspire other people is by living your truth, because that's the only way that other people can see ways to develop their own. When I think of perseverance, travel, passion, and aspire to inspire, and I try to dive into which one I resonate with the most, I feel like I resonate with both. However, aspire to inspire, I think, connects with me a little bit more, because from a young age, I always felt like I just had something within me that I needed to share with the world, and I wanted to be able to do something that would inspire other people to go after their dreams. But at first I had to figure out what my dream was. Otherwise it was going to be hard for me to go tell other people to go live their dream if I didn't even know what my dream was. So I feel like aspire to inspire for me personally is the big picture, and perseverance, travel, passion is the way that I'm able to go about accomplishing the big picture. So whenever you have a goal, you have to set the steps and the details in order to get there. And perseverance, travel, passion are my direct steps I'm able to take in achieving my overarching goal of aspiring individuals. So when I look back into what made me choose P.T.P X A.T.I, I look to the man behind the brand. So having gotten to know Tyler in real life, I was able to realize that his brand embodies the essence of who he is. So I heard all his amazing travels. He's traveled to like Australia, and I've heard so many amazing stories from that. He's been to Norway. He's been to like Fiji and a whole other boatload of countries. Even if he didn't get to directly spend a lot of time there, even just from having them as layovers, like, he just is a man that loves to travel and is curious about the world. And that's what got me curious in his brand, was getting to know him on that individual level, and then seeing the passion that is birthed into his company, P.T.P X A.T.I. And because of that, it got me curious into learning more about his brand. And the more I learned about his brand, the more I realized that, oh my gosh, these are principles that I identify with and that help shape my path in life. But I just never realized that other people thought about things the way that I did. Like, in my head, I always wish there were people that thought about things the way that I did. And then to actually meet someone that embodies my same principles so much that they're creating a brand off of it, it just made me fall in love with it even more. So I'm a person that likes to get to know the people behind whatever company it is that I'm supporting. So definitely seeing how genuine the brand is and just how much it wants to work with other people and help them have their own experiences, I think is truly a beautiful thing. And that's what keeps me with it and keeps me wanting to inspire others, and just while being inspired by the brand itself. So when I think about what makes this brand unique, I think, again, I go back to the man behind the brand, and it makes me think of cultural opportunities. And seeing somebody from a minority group going out and living out their dream in terms of traveling makes me realize that anyone can do it. Like, regardless of your economic status, regardless of what color skin you have, regardless of your religious background, regardless of any social constraints that society or culture tries to project onto us, if you have the perseverance and the passion for it, you will find a way to travel and live out whatever dream you have. Like, for this brand, it's so unique because it's breaking down stereotypes and constraints with the essence of travel at the core. So whether it was traveling, whether it was coming up with a new software for technology, whether it was what I do like fashion, no matter what the variable is, for this brand, it just happens to be traveling as its identity. That's the living example of how people can go out and persevere through whatever adversities they have and actually live their passion. And I think that's where the Aspire to Inspire comes into play, because the brand is unique where it picked its niche, that's traveling, even though there's all these other factors that could hold this brand back due to the nature of like whoever is originating this brand, you know? And they just keep rolling with it. Like, I think that every brand, like, I'm not trying to compare this brand to like other brands, so I'm not even going to mention any names, but I just think that one thing that I'm starting to become more cognizant of is looking at the people behind whatever brand I'm choosing to resonate with, what their mission is, what their story is. And I just think that everyone has their own unique stories, but I just thoroughly resonate with this one because I'm all about going after your dreams and pushing past boundaries that are supposed to stop us in terms of society's eyes. So that's why I think this one's unique. It's aspiring to inspire others while living its truth, which happens to revolve around traveling. So what I like most about this brand, I feel like is a little selfish, but I think it's also something that I really needed in my life, is this brand taught me focus. I go back to kind of what I was saying earlier, where this brand is a starting point in seeing your identity. And the reason why I associate so heavily with Aspire to Inspire is because I had this concept and this idea that I wanted to go out into the world and I wanted to inspire other people. But there's so many ways to do that. And I had a really hard time realizing how valuable and important a focus is. So having perseverance, travel, passion, it shows me that this brand is still inspiring others to go out and live their passion and to persevere through any obstacle, but it's picking travel to be its focus. And I just think that's so incredibly beautiful, because it made me have to sit with myself and realize, what do I want my focus to be? Like, what does Nicole really want? Like, yes, it's beautiful to go out and inspire others, but you have to start with yourself. What inspires me? And that was just like this epiphany moment that is letting me go forward in my individual life and in what career I want to create for myself. And without having this brand as a living model and testimony to do that, I feel like it might have taken me a little bit longer to come to that conclusion. So that's why I really love this brand. So a direction I would love to see this brand going in the future would revolve around having a challenge where people have to figure out and choose one passion at the moment. Like, and it can't be traveling right now. So they have to choose one passion at the moment that they want to work on exploring and developing. And just because you choose this now, you have to try it. You might not end up liking it, and that's totally cool, and you can go do something else afterwards, but you have to stick with something and give it your focus, so you at least give it the chance to see if you like it. But I would love to see that being tied in with this brand by having a way that people can document and share their story by taking their passion and seeing how creative they can get and do it in different environments. And that's how you're able to tie in the travel. So you're taking the brand's core concept of traveling, and you have to combine that with your individual passion. Because for me right now, I think that the reason I would love to see other people do this is because I kind of ended up doing that myself because I want to start traveling so much more, but I want to be a fashion designer. Well, how am I supposed to take my sewing machine? How am I supposed to take all my printing materials? All these other factors, like how can you figure out what your passion is, but find ways to incorporate travel into it? Because like I said before, if you have something that you love and you think you're good at, that's only one time and setting and environment you're actually getting to experience it in. Once you incorporate the factor of travel, you have the opportunity to be expanded. And you get to expand your passion and see other ways that you can add to it and explore with it. So that's one thing that I think would be really cool for this brand to do, is to create kind of like a challenge and then have people document and share their stories of taking their passion and seeing how creative they can get with combining it through traveling.